Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm glad to be here. Today is Wednesday, 4th of March, 2026. And as usual, every Wednesday is time for the spiritual light. So, today topic it is spiritual discernment in an age of misinformation. So, we are bombarded by fake news, by a lot of things every single day. And Charles and I, we are not alone. We do have Roberto Watanabe with us. I know for a lot of people here, Watanabe is a well-known collaborator from the Spiritual Light, from the Irish Spiritist Federation. So thank you, Roberto, for joining us, for be here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stevan. Hello, Charles. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here with you again.
Bonjour, Charles.
Hello, Steven. Bonjour. Hello, Roberto. Indeed, a very big pleasure to be together today to talk about this very important topic.
Yes. Yeah, good. So, what we can say about today's topic? We needed to we are in a fast-paced world with the internet. Uh, we have news, our literary fingerprints. So we can and we are overwhelmed by a lot of information. Uh, Not just new information, but different opinions, which sometimes get us crazy because we always gonna have people like it, like people doesn't like it, people is in the middle, people is hated. So everywhere we go, even though now we go to the spirit center, we do have all these I would say side talks because I saw in someone's blog this, I read that, and people instead of reading the full article, just getting pieces of that articles and make a conclusion about it. But what Spiritism teaches and what Kardec told us, faith must be rational. So we needed to use our own judgment, our rationality to make our final call, to express our opinion. And in this scenario we are currently living, sometimes
I think Steven is frozen.
and
He's back.
and Kardec insisted to us that spiritual truth should never contradict reason and moral law. In the Book of Mediums, we are warned to test communications, examine sources, and avoid blind belief. Today, more than ever, discernment is not optional, it is a spiritual responsibility. And tonight, we will explore how to cultivate discernment, avoid fanaticism, and remain morally grounded in a world flooded with noise. So, saying that, I want to start our conversation here today with Roberto. And my friend, based on my introduction here, why discernment Sorry, I will rephrase this. Why is discernment a spiritual duty in Spiritism?
Well, Stevan, thanks for the question. First of all, I think we should define what discernment means. And discernment means the ability to judge well, to distinguish between right and wrong, good and evil, essential from inessential, and permanent from the transient, and so on and so forth. But the discernment, as you have already mentioned, it is based on must be based on facts, not on fake news, based on truth, not on opinions, and also based on what is useful, not harmful. So these are, let's say, a general overview of what would be discernment. But I think what is of more interest to us is the spiritual discernment, which is the main issue today, right? So, and then when we talk about spiritual discernment, I would say that it has more to do with the wisdom than with the intellectual knowledge. One thing is knowledge, another thing is wisdom. So that you can have people with a high intellectual capacity, but lacking wisdom. And by the other hand, you can have very simple people with a little, no intellectual training, but who are wise. So wisdom is something different than knowledge. An example of a wise person, I would have some would mention some examples from the Bible, right? From the Old Testament, for example, you had Joseph deciphering the Pharaoh's dreams, Solomon judging the dispute between the two women over a baby, and also in the New Testament you have that episode of the adulterous woman, right, with Jesus, when he said, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." So, and in Spiritism, we have both. We have the combination of a reasoning or knowledge with morality. So, and then what's the difference to apply regarding discernment in Spiritism is like you also already mentioned. It's important to distinguish between what is and what is not is coherent with the Spiritist principles. So that's why I would say discernment is very important in Spiritism and is a spiritual duty in Spiritism. So that would I would like to mention regarding the question. I don't know if Charles has something to add.
Yes, maybe just quickly. It's very interesting. Of course, the Spiritist body of knowledge gives us a better understanding about what we are, where we come from, where we go to. We have a much broader view than just the material view with the blinds. So somehow we know that we are basically of spiritual essence. Our spirit is immortal, but our body and all what is material, one day or the other, when we will go back there to the other side, we will leave everything here. So it helps us to focus on what is important, which is the spiritual things and not the material things. So this helps us a lot not to be seduced or seduced, I'm not sure about the word, or manipulated, if you prefer, by all these people who are willing to sell us things and to take data from us, to send us incessantly advertisements, or to induce us to buy things we don't need, or to vote for people who do not merit our vote, and things like that. So it's very interesting because we see the things with a little bit more distance, and we more difficultly fall into this type of trap. And the second thing is, when Kardec started analyzing the communication of the spirits, the spirits, they do not show fingerprints, they do not come with ID card or things like that. we never are sure, we are never sure about who are the spirits who are communicating through a medium. And this is indeed one of the biggest care that Kardec encouraged spiritists, is to always analyze very carefully all the communications received. It means do not accept for granted or cast in concrete something just because it comes from spirits, And interestingly, this habit to always scrutinize and analyze with common sense and is it true? Is it good? Or is it right for the moment? This famous Socratic filter, as it is sometimes known, we apply permanently in analyzing this communication of the spirits. So this is, of course, another excellent training, because nowadays, all what it's no more face to face. We are internet is for free. We don't pay for internet. For a lot of things are for free on the internet. So we are the product, basically. We are bombarded by things which come even through IA. There is not even a person behind sending us something. So again, we do not see the fingerprint or the ID card of what is coming every day to us through the internet and through the social media. And I'm always making this parallel and saying, thanks God, I learned the Spiritist body of knowledge some decades ago, and I see how much this helps me nowadays in order to face all this fake, all this phishing, all this hoax or whatever is happening right now.
This is great. This is beautiful. It's important. It is an evolution having all those informations, but at the same time, this is very challenge. I'd not say cautious, not say we're challenge, because we need to use our reason of faith. You know? So let's keep going. Let me see if we have any comments. So Elsa wrote here, moral discernment is the quiet voice of conscience asking, is this right, even if no one is watching? True discernment is not judging others, is judging ourselves with honesty and humility. Yeah, my dear. Yeah, I agree. I like this. Is this right, even no one is watching? So we always know, oh, I did this and I didn't know I shouldn't have done that. But we did. And nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows, but you know. And don't be fooled, because at the right time your conscience will remind you about what you have done. So Charles, how can we distinguish true inspiration from illusion or emotional impulse? Because we've seen this a lot in the Spirit Center. Oh, I got a message from Dr. Bezerra Jimenez. Wow, great. Oh, Chico Xavier was here and gave us this message. Hey, hold on your horses. Let's evaluate. Let's analyze. So, it's with you, my friend.
Exactly, Stevan. So it's just a continuation of what Roberto and what we just said in the first question. We always apply analysis and discernment on all what is coming from the spiritual world, and inspiration is one of it. A lot of people, the materialist people, they think, wow, what a good idea I got right now. Thinking that all these ideas who come, nobody knows how, by surprise or whatever, are coming from us or from the biochemical reactions in our brain. No, we, as the spiritist body of knowledge, we know that the spirits are helping us much more than what we think. And a lot of inspiration come from the spirits. So now an inspiration can come from a good spirit or it can come from a less good spirit. Okay, we can have good inspiration and we can have less good inspiration. Okay, so it's exactly part of this analysis which what we are doing. And how can we distinguish good inspiration from bad inspiration or good spirit from imperfect spirit? It's exactly again analyzing what the inspiration tells us. Yeah. Is it good? Is it does it align with humility? Yeah. Is it inducing us to charity, to doing good to the others? Is it coherent with the universal moral laws and the spiritist principles that we have analyzed and accepted through understanding in line with our reasoned faith, as you told as well at the beginning? These are all the questions we are doing. And sometimes, I mean, it's quite easy. Most of the time, it's quite easy to see whether it comes from a good spirit or not. But it's not always so simple because, spirits with bad intentions, they can do copy paste of gospels, they can do copy paste of Kardec, they can do a lot of things like this. So we must always be careful. We must not, okay, it's a copy paste of Kardec, so I don't need to control anymore. No, control has to be always permanent, and uh, we should never give up controlling. Because even if it's a spirit which is trying, coming with a mask, or the wolf showing a white like a sheep, uh, sooner or later something will be, there will be a dissonance, something will be inconsistent, something will not be aligned with the principles, and that is then when you find it. So what spiritist body of knowledge is telling us is, okay, if it's a good advice, do good, whatever, or something which really comes when how to say, when we need it and fits exactly to our analysis or whatever, then yes, we can go with it after doing this analysis without hesitation. But if it's something, you know how to say, with elogiating too much, oh, you are very good, you are this, when we know the spiritual mentors, they never behave like that. They come, give advices. It's always straight to the point. There is no blah blah, it's two lines and straight to the point. And when you think about it, you say, yes, okay, you got me. But if you have a lot of blah 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 blah, only this is already strange. It's immediately should enable you to raise a flag and to see, careful here. And even if you are in doubt, okay, put it in a binder and let's wait for other confirmations or the opposite in order before to make a decision to go or not to go for it. But sometimes, I mean, with the time when we use to do this analysis, of course, the inspiration comes with something else. It's a kind of a feeling, and we have all a spiritual mentor, which is always with us when we need it. You think to him, he's immediately here, 24 hours per day, 365 days a year. He's always with us. And when by analyzing and seeing and looking, we begin to have some feelings, to which we can recognize him easily, or better, let's say so. Again, it does not prevent the analysis. So we should always be careful. And it's exactly what is happening nowadays. It's exactly the subject of today. All what we are bombarded the whole day long from the social media and so on. We should just behave the same. Is it good or is it evil? Is it useful or is it useless? Do I really need this or is it totally superfluous? Is there something hidden behind all these questions? We are always entitled to do them.
Great. Thank you. Roberto, do you have any comments about it? You're on mute, my friend.
Okay, yeah, about true inspiration, I would kind of summarize what the Charles said. I would say that a true inspiration is a guiding light for positive change in our life, right? Which make us moving from complacency to action. But true inspiration is, like Charles said, is an inspiration which comes, for example, from the spirit, if we think about inspired medium, and from a high order spirit. And high order spirit, they just communicate regarding what is good for us. Huh? But Kardec says, but whose counsels we often fail to follow. So true inspiration has to do, therefore, with the justice, truth, and goodness. So summarize what Charles said. Now, regarding illusion, is a kind of a false perception, a kind of incorrect belief that makes something appear to us different from what it really is. And for that purpose, discernment is very important because discernment prevents us from getting into illusions. Then emotional impulse, which is the third issue here, is when we is a kind of a intense urge to act or react based on emotion, on high emotions, than logical thought. So it also here we also have the problem of discernment, because when we are driven by high emotions and not by reason, then we cannot have a good discernment. So I would say that the true inspiration, therefore, is something very positive for us when it recommended good to us. And delusion, emotional impulse are situations where discernment is very important, so that we can avoid such a get involved in such a kind of a trap, right? So that was I would say regarding this the second question.
Very good. Yeah. We need to be reasonable, So let me see. Yeah. So we already said, I'd like to touch that point in which when a medium got a message from a well-known important spirit, somehow this will affect the medium's pride. Oh, I'm too good because now that spirit chose me to give the message. And when we have probably the main person of the mediumistic meeting, or They say, okay, great, thank you. Please give the message. Let's analyze, let's review it, and then we can comment. We can spread the news, we can publish it. For a non-prepared person, this gonna and with very prideful person, there's gonna be insult. There's gonna be something like saying, "Hey, are you doubting about my mediumship? Are you jealous because that spirit chose me instead of you to give that message?" So we've seen this very often happening in the spiritual center. I'm just giving here the example of a message, but it could be a lot of things. Like, I like to have my healing with Charles because always when I go with healing with Charles, I'm feeling better. In a room of healing, doesn't matter who gonna give you the healing, everybody will be treated equally and the same way. Not because Charles or Roberto or myself or anyone gave that healing, but we see people picking who will give the healing that time. Let me see another example. Uh, Someone who invited to be the speaker that day, and someone feels important. I am the speaker today. I will give a speech today in the São Paulo State Spiritist Federation. Wow, great. But that person doesn't realize that they speak, it is more for the speaker than the audience. When a speaker gonna give the speech, it's for him, not for the audience. Of course, someone in the audience will identify and say, "Oh, that touched me a lot." Yeah, but it's more for us who give the speech. But I don't know how many does this exercise. So I bet, Roberto, you have seen a lot of these examples while you were president of the FESP.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Even with myself sometimes, no, because we all have our imperfection. No? Well, regarding pride, Stevan, I would start to say that there is an authentic pride, right? The pride which is associated with the feelings of accomplishment, a productive effort, and it's such kind of a pride is positively related to our self-esteem and social behavior. And we could also be proud of our children, for example, when they have a good deeds, right? But what we are talking today is about the excessive pride, right? The hubristic pride. Hubris is a Greek word for excess, right? And such kind of hubristic pride is associated with arrogance and inflated self-views. I view myself much more elevated than I'm really are, right? And then this is linked to narcissism and also interpersonal difficulties. So such kind of a pride make us cling to being right, to blocking any self-correction, and therefore any spiritual growth. When we think about mediumship, for example, that you mentioned in the beginning, you can see that a medium which has a excessive pride, he's easily involved in a kind of obsession named fascination, where the spirit created the delusion in the medium's mind, so that, like you said, right, he thinks that everything that the spirit says is correct. He believes that the name, the honor, the name by which the spirit introduces itself is truth, is true. And so this kind of fascination is a problem regarding the mediumship practice in the spirit center, right? But you also talked about, healing. A guy goes to the spirit center. He said, well, I want to have I want to be healed by Stevan because his passe, his spiritual healing is more strong than Charles. Huh? So this kind of, and then Stevan start to think that that's true. So that's kind of pride also, right? So you also mentioned the speaker, right? Which thinks that everything that he say is right, is true, and don't recognize when he says something that is not that much correct, right? So pride is involved in all this situation. Then what Kardec says, right, there in the Gospel according to Spiritism, is that when he talks about pride and humility, you also mentioned this, he said that all humans are equal on the divine scales, and only our virtues distinguish us from each other, right? So in God's eyes, he says, so that there is no reason, right, to feel pride. If all spirits are of one and the same essence, and all bodies are made of the same substance,
Yeah.
or name is
Good.
that doesn't nothing, right? So just charity and humility are our titles of nobility. That's what I would mention regarding this question.
Yes.
There is,
Yes.
if I may
Yeah.
add, Steven, there is, by the way, there is quite a difficulty in the translation from French, both to English and Portuguese, because in French, for pride, there are two different words. One is orgueil, which is the bad pride, let's say so, and one is fierté, which is the good pride.
Oh,
Huh? You are
interesting.
proud of
Mm.
your son because he passed successfully an exam, you know. This is fierté. Orgueil
Um,
is the bad pride. Orgueil is the one who thinks, I'm better the other, I'm better than the others, and so on, you know. Arrogance or whatever. It's really the bad pride. So when you see this word orgueil in French in the Spiritist body of knowledge, you have to remove the good pride from the word and only have the bad pride, you know. So it's an interesting topic. And indeed, I would maybe summarize, we in Spiritist body of knowledge, we don't believe in hell. So instead of saying that pride is a highway to hell, we say pride is a highway to obsession.
Very
oh,
good.
very interesting. Very interesting.
It's
Yeah.
The
it's the same
distinction.
with incarnated people, you know. If you are proud, huh, the people they know exactly much. It's much easier for them to manipulate you. You know, if you are humble, if you do not easily want the things you don't need just because the other has it, you don't have it, or whatsoever, it's much more difficult to manipulate you. You know, so it's exactly the same. Pride, excessive pride is also a weak point for being manipulated.
Yeah. Good. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. Good to know. Okay. So let me see here what we have. So Good evening, Luviem. Good evening, Ulrich. So good to have you all here with us. Let me see. Elsa Lee. Oh, my dear. Long time I don't see you. Hope everything's fine. Linda Fly, Juliano Azari, and Estevan Pontes. So good all for being here with us today. So I think this covers the topic about fanaticism in the Spiritism, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So we said that we talk about fanaticism, and let's talk now about the other way, which is the prayer. And uh, Charles, how does prayer help us with discernment?
Prayer, we talk here about the true prayer, the one who comes from the heart, which is associated to strong emission of thoughts, and not just prayer by you just read it or you know it by heart, which then you have a lot of words and repetition, but the thoughts are not going together. The true prayer is even without words, but with strong thoughts. And when we elevate our thoughts, we somehow tune ourselves. We come closer to the mentors which are here to help us. Okay. And the mentors, they will help us in feeling when something is right or wrong. They will help us in this discernment. They will suggest us the right questions. Look this, look that, check this, check that. They will not say to us it's good or bad. They will leave the decision up to us. They always will respect our free will. By the way, that's another way to recognize a good spirit from a bad spirit. The good spirit is always respecting your free will. And the bad spirit is, you shall do this, you shall do that, it's urgent, you must do it now, and things like this. This is never a good sign. And with a prayer, basically it's a question of syntony. We can, if we do the prayer, we go up, we go to the in syntony with the one which are here to help us. Now, if we don't pray, or if we have even bad thoughts, or if we are pessimistic or very sad, about the events which are happening in the world right now, and all this, bombarding us. You see the same video turning 10, 20, 50 times. It's we have to be very careful with these things, because if we fall into pessimism, instead of synchronizing us with the good spirits, we synchronize with the one who wants to push us down. So it's up to us to discern which one we want. And when we feel we are weak, or because there are days, good days and bad days, good days which are not so good. So when you feel you have a difficult day, just pray. And this difficult day, it will resist, and with the time push you back into a very good mood, and a good even the health or whatever. So yes, indeed, the prayer is helping, for a lot of things, including for discernment. The prayer can be as simple as, my guardian angel, please bring me a light to help me in making, in checking if this is right or not. This is a prayer, it's enough, and he will immediately come and not tell you it's right or wrong. Check this, check that, look at this, look at that, and then you will make your own decision.
Beautiful. Simple like that. Roberto, you want to add your
uh,
view?
just to complement or confirm what Charles said, right? So prayer in general is a act of communicating with a deity, God, Jesus, or any other high order spirit, and normally to offer thanks, adoration, confession, or ask for help, like Charles mentioned. And through prayer, it helps in our discernment, because through prayer, this is a Kardec says, right, that through prayer, we call to ourselves the help of good spirits who come to uphold us in our good resolutions and inspire us with the good thoughts. And so through prayer, we acquire the moral strength needed to overcome the difficulty we are going through. And we can also, Kardec says, divert the evils that we attract ourselves because of our own fault. So all of these, of course, result in a better discernment, right? And that's why prayer helps indeed with the discernment.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you both. So, as we are now approaching the last part of our conversation here, I want to touch a point in which is very, very serious, and I like to start with you, Roberto, because we do have here. I am the president of the Spiritist Federation. Roberto was the former president of FESP. Charles is one of the top guys from the Spiritist movement in France, now with the Spiritism Francophone movement. So a lot of experience here. And the question is how a spirit center or a federation can promote health spiritual reasoning.
Well,
Let's start with you, Roberto.
okay. Yeah, first I would ask, start by saying, Stevan, that Spiritist Center help us understanding through Spiritism the meaning and purpose of our life. So that's a very important knowledge that you or understanding to have such a healthy spiritual reason, right? And we understand such a meaning and purpose of our lives through knowledge of the basic principles of Spiritism. So we start by recognizing the existence of a God, which is infinitely perfect, and who created the universe, and among the universe created us as souls, and God created us immortal. So the second principle of Spiritism: first is God, second immortality of the soul, and then we as immortal beings, we are destined to evolution until perfection. So then we have the third principle, which is the law of evolution. But to reach such perfection through this pathway of evolution, we need many lives, right? So then we have the fourth principle, which is reincarnation. And then what we also learn from Spiritism is that we reincarnate here in the physical realm, and when we are not here, we are there on the spiritual realm, and there is a ways of communicating between these two realms. So and then we have the fifth principle of Spiritism, which is the communication between this physical and the spiritual world. So where the spirits, the low order spirits may harm us, like Charles mentioned, but the high order spirit may help us and may teach us a lot of things, which is the case of Spiritism itself, right? Just to look at the Spiritist book. So all of this knowledge is done through study and through discussion, questions, dialogue. So this is what in this whole context, a Spiritist Center, what it offered us uh, can help us to develop a healthy spiritual reason, right? Which was the question. And what is interesting also is that before we are ready to get such knowledge, many times we approach the spiritual center with lots of problems in our life, right? And then before the study phase, we have the spiritual assistance phase. So in this sense, also the spiritual center help us a lot, right? So that's what I would say about such a thing.
Mhm.
A final thing is what you said in the beginning of our live today, Stephen, when you mentioned the rational faith, right? So in the Spirit Center, we talks about faith, but a faith that is based on a foundation, which is the understanding of what we are believing upon, right? So rational faith based on facts and logics uh, leave no darkness, and then it helps us to have a better, a healthy spiritual reasoning. So that's what I would say about that.
Great, great. Thank you, thank you. Very good point, Tanabe. Very good. Charles.
Yeah, I think there is not a lot to add. Roberto said everything. Spiritist body of knowledge is always calling for reasoning, you know, reasoning not only on material things, but also on spiritual matters, you know, and reasoning with common sense. Huh? So this is why we say spiritism, the unshakable faith, is only the one face who can meet face to face the reason at every time of the humanity. No? And we really go from blind faith to reasoned faith. Blind faith can be good. You have people who have a faith and are doing incredible things and so on. I admire those people because I'm not capable for it. I can only do something with big motivation once I understand how and why I'm doing it. But the blind faith has also some drawbacks because it's exactly one of the cause for fanaticism. You cannot understand it, but you must do it. The one who do not believe like you must kill them. You know, you have horrible things done in the name of blind faith. And even in the Catholicism history, you had the Inquisition, you had religious wars, you had people burned into, how to say, like Joan of Arc and so on, you know, horrible things have been done in the because of this blind faith who went into fanaticism. And what we see in several conflicts in the world right now, there is still a lot of this. So spiritist body of knowledge is all but this. If you don't understand, we not, do not oblige you to believe in it. And even if you understand, we also do not oblige you to understand to believe in it. You know, why? Because the free will, the liberty of the freedom of our opinion and of our thoughts is one of the basic principles of the spiritist body of knowledge. So that makes a huge difference. And I can tell you, if spiritists would not be like that, respecting our free will, our opinion, huh, I would not be here today to talk about it. I would not have adhered to Spiritism if it would be something like my education with Catholicism. When I asked you know, when you're a child, it's okay. But when you start reasoning and asking questions and the answers do not fit with your need to understand, it's very harmful, you know. And that is then when you say, okay, put this aside. It's not something for me. It doesn't talk to me. Huh? But once a decade later, I opened the Spirit's book. Then I thought, here is really something much stronger, and it's really talking to us, talking to our understanding. And this is, of course, um, helping us again. It's only through reasoning, through discernment, through intelligence that we will do the difference between good and evil, between what is fake and what is not fake.
Yes, it is. It is. And at the same time, it is a great responsibility to deliver it. You know, we are seeing a lot of misguidance, misinformation, and like like Elsa wrote here, uh, discernment is the bridge between knowledge and wisdom. I cannot contest it. It's I love this sentence. Well done, my dear Elsa. Well done. Well done. Okay, so we have like only 5 minutes. So let's do a wrap up session here. So Watanabe, please, if you can give your wrap up message, please.
Okay, well, I would like to thank you again for this invitation to participate in this live, very interesting issue, and let's make our efforts to improve our discernment, right, in order to have a healthy spiritual reasoning. And thank you, Ian, and Charles. Thank you, Stevan, Elsa, who is here in the chat, and well, see you next time.
Yeah. Charles?
Again, I think one of the biggest added value, or I would say even a disruption that Kardec brought is, yes, we can use our intelligence, we can use our common sense also for spiritual matters, not only for scientifical or technological matter. It works also for spiritual matters. There are a lot of people who say, no, I'm, for instance, engineer and I'm Catholic. Okay. And when I ask him, do you use your engineer way of thinking and intelligence in the matter of religions? No. Religion is religion, and thinking, engineering is engineering. So I ask, why? Why do you put this wall, this separation wall in your brain between the two things? Why can you not use your intelligence or your way of thinking also for spiritual matters? And this is, I think, what's now raising up more and more. There are new notions popped up at the end of the last century, like spiritual intelligence. And what is spiritual intelligence? It's all about that. Huh? And Kardec really started that 150 years before, in the midst of the 19th century. And it's really a game changer into the observation of the spiritual facts, of the mediumistic communications, and so on, demystifying the stuff, um, and facing it with intelligence. And that is what he always encouraged in the Spiritist movement. Not always followed as it should be, but okay, even the Spiritists are not perfect. They have still some habits they got along the centuries that they have a huge work in order to take them away and to replace them by this new way of thinking. But definitively, there is a huge progress, both inside and even outside the Spiritist movement. And this is very encouraging. And I think once this, if we can foster the generalization of this, I think this will help a lot in order to stop all these conflicts, all these uh, people with more discernment will not vote just because they are seduced or whatever. They will think twice before voting to not only the biggest shows, the nicest and whatever, but also the one which has intelligence, the one who has also goodness, and the one who is the most disinterested, who with abnegation, putting the general interest before its own personal interest, with more humility than pride, which are the true leaders. And this, of course, nowadays, this they have little chance to be voted. But let's really hope that tomorrow those will be the one allying goodness and intelligence who will be our leaders and our leaders.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So thank you both for this very knowledge, thoughtful conversation and very reasonable conversation, which is very important for us. And let me go to the announcements. So yeah. Okay. So next week topic, I will. It is the spiritual strength of women beyond roles towards mission. This, of course, it is in accordance with the International Women's Day on the 8th of March. So we will talk about this important role women have in the spiritism, which always we need to bring this up because a lot of people forget it. So and Rodrigo will be with us. So during this week, we will have Florence Anton in the UK. That's why Silvia is not with us today because she's translating his talks. So she'll be here with us next week. So on the 28th of March, we will have our friend Breno Malucelli. He's from Denmark, but he's a young spiritist. So he's going to talk an important topic for us, which is engaging young people in the spiritist activities. This is good to listen from a young person how to call their attention. So this is very very good for us. Fraternity is celebrating their anniversary on the 29th of March. Charles is going to be in the UK giving his talk. We have Daniela Santos, Waltino Majeste, so Maria Novelli, so a lot of people will be there. So every Saturday, we do have the Mediums book online study with Charles, Munir, and Guilherme. On Sundays from 8:30 to 10 o'clock p.m., we have the studies of Joana de Anjos and Dr. Anaí Fonseca. It's giving us apologies, not every Sunday, every other Sunday. So every 2 weeks. So save the date. In September, between 18 and 20 of September 2026. Roberto, I think you need to go to Belgium.
Oh,
So
yeah?
bring your wife to eat some good chocolates in Belgium and
Uh-huh.
come to the European Spiritist Gathering, and we will have 3 events simultaneously there. Which one it is with the kids, another one with the youth, and the one with the uh, how I say in a
Adolf.
nice way, not the old ones, but the experienced ones. Yeah, yeah. So keep reading Spiritist Magazine. Thank you from Buzz, Irish Spiritist Federation, Spiritist Francophone Movement, and also today, thank FASP for being here with us. Please, guys, keep listening Cardiac Radio. And this is it for us today. So thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for your patience. I'll see you next week. Roberto, thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, thank you. I know you're tired.
God
So
bless.
thank you so much. Linda Flight, thank you for joining us. Elsa, Ulrich, Luviem, Betty Melo, Stevan Pontes, Ju Lazari, Elsa Lee. So thank you so much for being here with us. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.